How's it going, y'all? How we doing? How everybody been? Hope y'all doing well. Hope the mid-year shift is treating everybody, with kindness. Yeah. So, I don't know. I didn't want to make this video because, I don't know, I didn't want to talk, basically. I didn't want to talk about, how I've been feeling, where I've been at, with things, how my spiritual path's been going, I don't know. It's wrapping up the end of my meditation retreat, I guess you'd call it, that I've been on for, the past year. I don't know if you'd call it necessarily. That's what it ended up being, right? I touched my nose, so I'm figuring I'm trying to predate my own tales here. But, when I didn't, necessarily go into it with that intention. It was more just moving out and, starting life, right? But it's kind of, what it turned into. It's kind of, what it ended up being. And, I don't know. I guess there's a part of me that really wants something to, a fruit of that year of work. I really want, a fruit that I get to eat at the end of it. It's like I've been growing a tree for a whole year, and I guess a part of me really wants to eat the fruit of that tree, but I've been having some difficulty. And I understand that we're not entitled to the fruits of our actions. All we're entitled to is the action itself, and none of what can come of the action. Sometimes you get the fruits of your labor, but you're not entitled to that at all. You can't expect it, you know what I mean? You can't expect it. It's just nice when that happens. It's not a guarantee ever. And yeah, it's I don't know. I had this certain understanding of the purpose of this year. Not only the purpose of this year, but my purpose. And I had this idea of what my life was and who I was and what my path is about and all this. I had these ideas, and I found myself in a position, I got kind of, I don't know, moved into this one point of awareness, this one perspective line. Presumably the processes of life, focusing in onto maintaining the shape of the spiral or whatever. But yeah, just the ebb and flow. But I don't know, it forced me into this vantage point where I had to, it's I couldn't see my insides, I couldn't see my higher self, I couldn't see, my soul, I couldn't see any of the parts of me that are connected to something bigger, to consciousness. I wasn't in touch. I was gone to. It still kind of feels like it is a little bit. Ish, but I don't know. And when this happened, I can't blame anybody else for this. I think it's just all oscillating, to be honest. But yeah, well, yeah. So I don't know, maybe 9 days ago, ish, 8 days, ish. Yeah, I basically had to. It felt like I was basically the only thing kind of pushing for me to keep it up, to keep using the name, to keep focusing on that part of myself and aiming towards it, I guess. I don't know, I felt like I was the only one that wanted me to be doing that. My sense of separateness. And I felt like the universe around me, at first, it felt like the universe was like on my fucking side. It felt like the universe was with me and like trying to get me there. It felt like I was the one who was like in denial and like running away, and it felt like the universe was like guiding me to it and like aiming my head at it, and like it felt like, I don't know, it felt like not only was I saying this to myself, but like others were saying it too, kind of. Definitely not across the board. That's never going to be the case for any time we individuate. Like, anytime you're an individual, there's going to be others who judge and don't get it, and like, just how frequencies and harmony works. It's not a good or a bad thing. It just is. Yeah, it's good. Well, it is good that it's like that, because then you get different chords and you get different, you know, modes and different scales. And yeah, okay, the analogies, yeah. Yeah, so like, I don't know, like, it felt like I was, like, I don't know, what's that one movie, the fucking, I think his name's Arvok, the horse that was in the fucking mud, that, you know, that the kid couldn't fucking pull out, fucking, that's what it felt like. It felt like, yeah, I forget what that movie's called, Land Before Time, something like that. Yeah, I felt like that horse. I felt like I couldn't get out of the mud. I felt like I was stuck in it. I felt like, I don't know. It was the weirdest, like, phenomenon over the course, like, or over the past little bit here. This is the weirdest fucking phenomenon. It was, like, all of a sudden, like, out of nowhere, and it went right in accordance, like, right along with, like, this self-discovery and all this. It was, like, once I accepted me, and once I started owning who I was, and like any way I had myself represented out there, I like updated it to match my new understanding of myself. And it's like, when I did that, it felt like the universe was like, good, we've all been waiting for you, good, here, like, here, get some connection real quick. That's what it felt like. And it occurred in several different ways, but the way that kind of like hit my heart the closest, like, I don't know, so, like, I've been making music for like 2 years or whatever, something like that. I've been making music for 2 years in this life, like, pretty, like, writing songs, like, you know what I mean, not just playing an instrument. Okay. And for almost all of that time, like the vast majority of that time, like, nobody's listened to it. You know what I mean? No, okay, it's like, it's just how it be. This is what it's like when you're starting. Okay, nobody listened to it. Nobody really cared. You know, it's like, I tried to be as consistent as I possibly could about it. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not about listens. It's not about what others think. It's not about any of that shit. It's all about the making of it itself, and like how it makes me feel to do it. Like, the loving of the making it is what it's all about. And I understand this, and you know, my higher self kept like, you know, every time I would like release something and it would get 0 listens, you know what I mean? Like, my higher self would always be there being like, you know, it's not about that. It's not about that. You just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And I would always be like, yeah, that makes fucking great sense. That, like, makes great sense. Checks out. And so I would keep doing it. You know what I mean? I would keep at it. Keep making new stuff. Keep focusing on my technique, taking it seriously. You know what I mean? Even if it felt like nobody else on earth was there with me, like, I maintained it. And there's only like, you can only keep that going for like, we only got so much stamina in our tank, you know what I mean? And there's been many times where like the fact that nobody was listening to it would like get to me, and I'd be like, if nobody cares, like, why am I like spending so much of my life's energy on this? Like, if nobody cares, like, why? What's the fucking point? Like, clearly the world doesn't want it. So like, there's been many times, and and that's human. Do you know what I mean? It's human as fuck. It's human as fuck. It's a little distorted emotionally, right? But this is life. It's human. And during those times, usually I would like start deleting shit. You know what I mean? Like, make my profile picture something like a fucking, like the wreckage after a storm or some fucking shit. You know? yeah, fucking yeah. I would like, I don't know. I would like private a bunch of shit. Like, yeah, yeah. And I don't know. During this little, to bring it back to what I was talking about, during this last, like, I guess it's been like a month or two, like 2 months or whatever, when I went in and like changed my SoundCloud and my Spotify and the places where I put my music, my YouTube and stuff, I don't know, I felt like the universe was like waiting for me and was like, good, like, okay, good, like this is, it felt like the universe was like saying like the reason it's been on ice and, you know, it hasn't been going literally anywhere at all is because you were representing yourself incorrectly, right? And so now that you're representing yourself correctly, like, here's a little bit of that connection that you were looking for. And it felt good. It was like my shit was actually getting some listens and stuff. It was like, I don't know, every time I posted something, it felt like there was at least someone there to check it out. I didn't get much like feedback in terms of like people saying they liked it or people saying whatever, anything really. But things were getting listens. I felt like there were, like I had some kind of an audience, I guess, or like people that was interested. Like, yeah, it felt good. It felt good. And it felt like not only did I have my own internal drives to keep making it, but I also had like people to make it for, if that makes sense. And it kind of compounded. And I ended up working on music like a lot. Like, I made a lot of music during that time. I made a lot of fucking music. And it felt so like aligned and like dreamy and like wonderful and like spiritual and shit. And some of my favorite bits of music that I've ever made came out of that time. And then all of a sudden, like 8 or 9 days ago, just as quick as it had come, it was like all of a sudden, like, they were all gone. It was like my network, basically. Like, I don't know, yeah, like, yeah, it felt like everyone that I was connected to, everyone that was helping me, everyone that was like with me in the web, everyone that was supporting my path, like internal guides and shit, you know what I mean? It felt like they were all just gone. It felt like they all dipped. It felt like everybody, I felt like I got abandoned by the universe, straight up. I felt like I got abandoned by the universe. And it wasn't just listens. It was like this whole, it was on the 5th, I think. On July 5th. I don't know, dude. It's like everything stopped getting listens. Everything stopped getting listens. It's like I stopped hearing my inner voice. I stopped, like, I don't know. My parents, like, all of a sudden, like, their attitude towards me, like, kind of shifted. I felt like animals, like, their attitude towards me kind of shifted. Like, I felt like the whole universe, straight up, I felt like the whole fucking universe was like, you fucked up. Like, you were doing great, and now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. And you're done. Like, that's what it felt like. I felt like it said, like, that's it. Like, you're done. You fucking done. Like, yeah, it like, condemnation, like, it felt shitty. It felt shitty. Yeah. And I felt like I got kind of moved along towards this, like, point where I had to, and I know I've had to do this, like, in the past and stuff too. Not quite in this way, but like I had to let go of like everything that I had accumulated. And I'm still working on this, but everything that I had accumulated that I considered to be like anything that's ego related, you know, like my life, my path, my story, my purpose, my calling, my like the meaning, you know what I mean? Everything that could be considered to have something to do with me, the individual. Everything that's ego related at all, including identity, like overall. It's like any way in which I was clinging to it, I had to let go. I had to let go of it. And it hurt because how I had kind of understood it was like once I, like it felt like I had been getting pushed to let go of my fake identity before, like the one that I was maintaining and like trying to like uphold. And that's when I found the name Shiva and like that whole part of myself on the inside is like once I let go of the inauthenticity, it's like that's where I found it. And all of a sudden, the part of me that I had to let go was this part, and it had become also, just like how the other, like my old identity had, it had become this thing that I had to maintain and to like work at and to, yeah, it like turned into the same thing again. In a new shape, but that's what it felt like anyway. And so I had to like let that go too. And it hurt really bad because it felt like kind of that, it felt like that was the whole kind of point of like what I've been doing this whole year, is like trying to move away the distortion so I could actually like see what was underneath. Because I was so like kind of lost in darkness that like, and I was also trying to like heal and like, yeah, I don't know, it felt like that was why I had been getting pushed down this whole shebang this last year. Not just this last year, like, it tied together a lot of loose ends. It didn't explain everything, but like things just felt like they made more sense. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, yeah, it did feel like that. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it felt like what had happened to me in my childhood, kind of the specific way my parents talk to me, like treat me, like what had happened with my friendships, and like what has happened just like with my spiritual path. I don't know, I'm getting self-conscious, but like, yeah, it was a good way of understanding myself. Like, it made a lot of sense to me. Made a whole lot of sense. And as like I'm saying that out loud, you know, it's a self-aware moment, I guess. It's like I don't know if that's like disgustingly egotistical to say something like that. I really don't. I don't know if it's like grandiose beyond grandiose and like just delusional grandiose to say something like that. But like that's how I felt. And I was like, yeah, I don't know, just connections of understanding, dots getting put together. That explanation did that for a whole lot of my life. And I think kind of what might have happened that went shitty was like, I don't know, I think I stopped trying to really like learn and grow. I stopped trying to, I don't know. It's like I got very cozy in that version of my understanding of myself as it was, like in that moment kind of, or in that little frame. I got cozy with it, and I wasn't looking anymore. I wasn't looking for ways in which I might be wrong ways in which I might be, you know, off on base a little bit, like after a little bit I stopped looking. Like I'd say, yeah, like 8 days ago. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. I stopped looking. It kind of, it moved into this territory because, like, there's, especially when you got BPD, like, I know a common symptom of BPD is, like, feeling like the whole world hates you, feeling like the whole world is against you. I know that's a symptom of BPD, and it stems from when you're a little kid. Like, if you feel like your parents hate you, when you're a little kid, your parents are God, you know what I mean? When you're a little tiny kid, your parents control everything. And if they are mad at you, then it's just like the whole world being mad at you, because they are your whole world when you're little. And so that, like, kind of that samskar, that mental pattern, that whatever you want to call it, it gets generated, like it gets installed when you're very young. And I definitely think that that's playing a decent part into where this flavor of my emotion is coming from. You know what I mean? I don't think the whole world's against me like that. I don't think there was just this giant shift where the universe was on my side, and then all of a sudden I had, like, irredeemably fucked up and the universe abandoned me. It feels like that. I don't know if it's actually like that. It tends not to be, right? Because I know the universe is made out of love and all this. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, yeah. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it seems to have led me to a place, and this is kind of where I'm at right now, where like being totally candid and honest, like, I still believe it. I still believe it. I still want to use the name. I still want it to be true. I don't know if I believe it. I believe it was, my perception was accurate. But yeah, and I still want to use the name. I still want to make it real and all this, but I don't know. It's like, I don't want to fight the universe. I don't want to fight my body. I don't want to fight karma. I don't want to fight the winds of change. Maybe I want to, but I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's a bad idea too, generally. And like, I very much understand that, like, there's a good chance that, like, the essence of what was real, like, still is. And kind of what's happening is the universe making me set down all the ways in which I turned it into ego, so that, like, the real version can come through again. And it, like, I could see that. I could also see, dude, I could see a bunch of timelines. I could see it being just like some gnarly schizophrenic break, you know what I mean? Just like some fucking breakdown, dude, just lasted for fucking ever. I could see it as, like, I don't know, I was talking to this one dude on Instagram. It's probably a fucking mistake as fuck, dude. Probably a mistake as fuck, but I was talking to this one guy on Instagram who, like, hey, I don't know, like, we started talking about meditation, and I started, like, kind of talking about consciousness. Like, I started moving the conversation towards the direction of consciousness, I guess. And he started, like, basically, like, saying stuff like he's worried about my health. He's worried about, like, yeah. Because he's saying that, like, in India, he gave me this one citation. It wasn't a citation, I guess, but this one example of what he was talking about that happened in India. I looked it up. It wasn't as conclusive as, I guess. Then again, I don't live in India, so. But he basically said that there was this sort of Burkai. That's the Penties. Fucking, it started with a B. Some city that started with a B. Kind of sounded like Burma, but it wasn't. In India, where, like, basically the meat of what the guy was saying was, like, as we go along the spiritual path and as we open ourselves up, and, like, once we start getting into multi-dimensional reality and shit like that, like, it's possible that, like, a being or an entity from one of those dimensions can, like, hijack you, can, like, possess you, or whatever the fuck, and, like, manipulate you, and, like, kill you, basically, like a folklore type thing, you know what I mean? It was like a fucking genie that comes out of a lamp that promises, like, a wish to get fulfilled, and you get the wish, but it always comes with, like, some awful catch, and the catch is always, like, makes the wish that gets fulfilled not worth it. Like, yeah, he was basically, like, warning me about that, and the way he kind of made it seem was the whole reason, like, he was, like, trying to say the whole reason I thought that this was me, that it was my soul, and all this, the whole reason that any of that happened was some fucking demon, some fucking evil entity coming inside of me and just abusing me and, like, manipulating me and trying to kill me. That's what he said. And it fucked with me. Because this was already kind of a pre-existing, like, neurosis or paranoia or fear, whatever you want to call it, that I had on the inside about my soul and about just voices on the inside in general. Like, yeah, for years, for, like, a very long time, I thought that my soul was my ego, that the voice of higher wisdom and all this, I had it in my head that was my ego, and that was, like, the bad part of me that I needed to keep stamped down and, like, not to show to the world, and to, like, yeah, like, the ugly part of me, my darkness or whatever. Yeah. Like, this was already something that was going on inside of my head before this conversation. It wasn't, like, a new thing. Like, this, before the name Shiva had entered into the realm of something related to me in my mind, right? This is way before that. Well, yeah, it might have been deep in my subconscious, but, like, I didn't, like, I would say Om Namah Shivaya. I would mention, like, Shaivic concepts and shit all the time, but I just didn't think about it that much, I guess. Didn't think about it that much, or that deeply. He was like, yeah, fucking, yeah. Like, literally, like, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, like, it. It, see, I'm touching my nose. But I know that's true. It's like, no, I would think about it. I would think about it. I would wonder. I remember back then. I would, like, it would emerge as a question. Like, am I? Like, you know? That's how it would emerge. And always there was this voice in me, this energy, that would be like, no, like, don't say that. Like, that makes you narcissistic. That makes you egotistical. That makes you a piece of shit. Don't you dare fucking, you can't, like, yeah, I still have this, but, like, yeah. And so, like, anytime I would, like, start considering it, it would, like, shove me down, basically. It would be like, don't you even fucking think about it, you know? And, yeah, I remember the, like, the moment. I don't remember exactly when this was. If I had to guess, it would have been after, like, after March of last year, before summertime. So sometime between March and like July of last year, I distinctly, I would even say this to fucking people when I got drunk, bro. Like, I mean, like, without inhibition, you know what I mean? Like, it would come out then, but, like, I had it buried deep. Because I was deeply ashamed of it. I would say was. But, like, yeah. Yeah, I would, like, I gotta say it, bro. Gotta be honest. I would, like, be like, dude, like, I'm really, like, wondering if I'm, like, a Hindu god. I'm really, like, wondering if, like, this is, like, if this is happening because of this, or if, like, I don't know, like, yeah. I remember one time at, like, my current roommate at the time, before he was my roommate, it was during this time period, like, a year and some change ago, fat over, you know, yeah, probably, like, more like, well, a year ago would have been in July, so, like, a year and a half ago, something like that, year and a half ago, year and 3/4 ago, like, I was having a conversation with him, at my place at the time, not here, but at my parents' place. And it was like super early in the morning. We had like stayed up all night, like talking about rap music. I think it was like philosophy and rap music and shit. Like, yeah. And I remember we were just like chilling in my garage. We was just like fucking talking about whatever. You know what I mean? Like straight up in like the soul dimension, just like not. Yeah. Yeah, we was just talking, and I remember I got pretty fucking turned. I was like off of a Four Loko and shit. I was going through it, bro. Like, yeah, that was a tough time. And I remember like letting it slip, like because it was. I remember at the time it was leading up into another like clarity, like part of the wave, which happened in like June, July, August type. Yeah, I remember like saying to him like, dude, like I'm pretty sure like I'm a Hindu god, bro. like I'm wondering, like I don't know, like hey. I remember saying this to him. I remember, and like I would like wonder it in my own fucking mind and shit, like for years, like ever since my first spiritual awakening in 2020. It's like everything that's happened afterward. I didn't think I was. It was like wondering, because like that explanation would account for a few things that I was like witnessing that like I just didn't know what to make of, kind of. I didn't know how to. It's like, yeah, I mean, like we can't understand why things happen. We just can't. But I was trying to, as brains do, right? Always. And like I guess that was an explanation. There was just like, I don't know, like it was like the way that who I was came out, the way it manifested, the way it's, I don't know, like the things I selected to represent, like my favorite toys, favorite colors, my favorite aesthetics, my favorite vibes, like, yeah, I don't know, my taste, just something about it. Like, I don't know, something about like this thing right here, like butterfly knives, music and dancing, and like the symbol, and animals, and my relationship with sound. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was just something that was up in my noggin, fucking clunking around for a long time. And then all of a sudden, like, I repressed it real hard. Because, like, holy fuck, like, that's not what you're supposed to be thinking or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, I would, like, yeah, I would hear that chatter on the inside. I would, like, yeah, and it would be very scary. It would be very, like, whoa, what the, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, well, a part of me would feel like that. A part of me felt aligned in it. Like, a part of me felt like that's the path. Like, a part of me felt like, and then another part of me was like, yeah, no. I'm like, You can't think about that. You can't even chew on that. Like, you gotta let that go. You gotta never tell anybody. You gotta get therapy and shit. I did, bro. Fucking, like, yeah,